do is thank me, counselor.
Thank you. What I should do is go to the judge and have you thrown off this panel.
Nobody twisted your arm to use that information. I was just trying to help.
I didn't ask for your help. Hi.
Cher is a public defender. Dennis Quaid is a member of the jury who thinks he's a brilliant private investigator. They're both in Suspect, one of 5 new movies we're going to be reviewing this week. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first film is Suspect, the courtroom thriller starring Cher, who is quite credible as a public defender assigned the difficult task of defending a man who is deaf and cannot speak, and who is accused of brutally killing a Washington, D.C. political secretary. At first, Cher has to pick her jury, and she interviews a clever political lobbyist played by Dennis Quaid. When he meets her, suddenly he doesn't want to quit jury duty.
Mr. Sager, you've stated that you are a congressional advisor. Is that another word for lobbyist?
I don't know. That's sort of like calling a lawyer a mouthpiece, isn't it?
To help Cher with her case, Quaid begins doing some investigative work on his own. Of course, any contact between an attorney and a juror is forbidden, and the judge in this case suspects Cher of such wrongdoing.
I saw you in the parking lot the other day. I had the impression you were talking with one of the jurors. Have you had contact with a juror on this trial?
No.
Well, she's lying, but that doesn't stop Cher or Dennis Quaid, who continues to go to great pains to help her, even getting his chest cut in a knife fight with another suspect. They're both very attractive actors, and they're both convincing, I think, in their individual roles. I did believe her as a attorney, and I did believe him as a lobbyist. He's nice and slick, a very good actor, Dennis Quaid. But the movie's script has its ups and downs. Still, I'm a sucker for even halfway good courtroom dramas. It's the lawyer I always wanted to be in me that makes me go for them. And this one not only held my interest as just a piece of law, but I couldn't correctly guess the identity of the killer. That doesn't happen too often, and I enjoyed that. It's a clever film in that aspect, well acted. Some scenes are overdrawn, but for me, thumbs up for Suspect.
Thumbs down for me, and I like the acting too. I thought Cher was really terrific as a lawyer. I loved her chemistry with Dennis Quaid. I love the writing. I like the whole theme of the homeless people in the movie, not only the guy in the streets, but also the fact that the main characters are homeless too, and their courtroom is their home.
And what about Dennis Quaid as a lobbyist? That whole aspect is kind of
I liked all of that, but I want to get to I want to get to the point that you made in your review where you said that the identity of the killer surprised even you.
Yes.
Well, it surprised even me too. And the reason it surprised both of us is that this movie cheats. And the scene that destroyed it for me is that scene, I won't give it away too much, where Cher stands up in the courtroom and just rattles off about 1 minute and 45 seconds of the answer to everything. It doesn't come from left field, it comes from outside the ballpark.
Okay, now wait a minute.
And then at that point you say, oh wow, that's the answer, and then the movie's over.
Well, wait a second. You have just told me the point that ruined it for me was her 45-minute speech. Do you realize that that is the last, roughly, 1:45 of the movie? In other words, you were liking the movie up until the last 2 minutes. Therefore, I would say you should like the movie.
Whoa, you're not right. Because the fact is that by concealing things unfairly for the entire 2 hours, they cause everything else to be in doubt. Don't you understand that? Don't you
I think you enjoyed it.
I think that one of the contracts in any kind of a whodunit, one of the contracts
you should have a fair chance of getting
is that
it right.
the clues ought to be out there. You ought to have a fair chance. You have no chance in this movie. They're just toying with you.
You have a great chance of enjoying all the acting and all the homeless people and all the characters played. And you know who said that? You and me.
Yep, but except I don't think people go to this movie to see homeless people. I want to punish them for not playing fair and writing a more intelligent script.
Just turn your thumb up a little bit.
Right here. Our next movie is named The Killing Time. I think that thumb is going right down again. I think I have a better title for this movie. It's almost the same as The Killing Time, and that would be just drop the "the." Just call it Killing Time, because that's what I was doing while I was watching this movie. A half-baked murder thriller with so many holes in it that certainly makes Suspect look like a masterpiece. Even the characters seem confused. The film stars Beau Bridges as a deputy sheriff who's in love with Camellia Cath, the wife of a hateful local real estate developer played by Wayne Rogers. She wants to kill him, and to protect her, Bridges, the deputy, comes up with a safe plan for killing him.
No. Say I was going to help you. Yeah?
Would you do what I say?
I think so.
Meanwhile, Kiefer Sutherland arrives in town as a new deputy who has a mysterious past and his own reasons for wanting to kill her husband. Bridges tries to frame Sutherland, then Sutherland tries to frame Bridges. Then they face each other in a final showdown.
Nobody in this town even knows who I am, Sam. All I have to do is leave.
And so there we come up with what we call the fallacy of the talking killer,
Yes,
which
sir.
is the thing we've seen in a million movies. The bad guy wants to kill the good guy. He's got a gun on him. It's loaded. All he has to do is pull the trigger and the good guy is dead. No, he's got to talk. What I did wrong, what you did wrong, what you should have done, what your problem is, what my life story is, what my angst is, until finally somebody comes along and shoots him.
Right.
It's amazing. The other thing I hated about this movie, the clues. Those cigarettes, that crucial package of
special
cigarettes.
brand.
Yes, special brand.
Sold only just outside around the Las Vegas area.
That's right.
Where a
Can't get
killer,
these cigarettes
where
in
a killer was
California.
spotted.
That's right.
Which happens to come on a teletape paper that they
is-
used to wrap fish in.
That's right. And when they unwrap the fish,
A week
what do
later,
they find?
wait,
a week later,
a week later,
when
the
fish are-
paper's still clean and
That's
nice.
right. And
have
the
you
plot
ever
is
have you ever had fish for 2 nights and look at the paper?
Not to mention, if they ate the fish, they'd be dead and the movie would be over. I didn't like this one too much.
Come to think of it, I didn't either. This is awful, except for one thing. There's a plot twist in here, which I won't give away for any poor sucker who happens to see the film, that I thought was going to make the film interesting. It involves a twist on a way to murder somebody, and for a minute there I thought, they're going to pull this awful movie out of the fire with a very clever twist.
The twist is interesting. The clues are
and then
right.
they push it right back into the toilet. With all these stupid
The
clues.
twist is interesting. The clues are right out of the bottom of Agatha Christie's wastebasket. They really needed to make this script a little more sophisticated to go along with the good people that they had in it.
Yep.
Coming up next, the story of a writer and a woman who would rather drink than face everyday life. Faye Dunaway, Mickey Rourke in Barfly.
Hey, barkeep, 2 scotch and waters.
Our next film, called Barfly, based on the writings and life of Charles Bukowski, has received some great reviews around the country where it's first opened, but I can't add to them. I was disappointed by the acting choices made by the lead character, Mickey Rourke, an actor who I normally like. He plays a chronic, brawling, drunk writer who would rather fight and lose than give in to the demands of what he considers the more boring life of the commonplace citizen.
Remember ordering a draft, barkeep. What do you want, a brew, or is that lobotomy finally taken hold?
Into his life, however, falls a character named Wanda, another drunk played by Faye Dunaway. At first, they trade some good lines at the bar.
I can't stand people. I hate them.
Oh, yeah?
You hate them?
No, but I seem to feel better when they're not around.
Rourke often goes way overboard in his acting in the bar and in his private scenes with Dunaway after they start living together.
What happened to you along the way? You're weird.
By the way, first thing I noticed about you were your legs.
Really?
It's not always that tender. Back to the bar, there's trouble after Mickey Rourke has hooked up with a literary editor who wants to publish his writing.
Either you get out of here or I'm gonna peel you away from your perfume.
I have a drink, and I intend to sit here and drink it.
Really?
Playing a drunk is not easy. Any actor will tell you that. Dunaway, I think, is excellent in her role, which surprised me because she, and how small it is, because she gets co-star billing. Rourke, to me, takes a chance, which you have to commend him for, but to me, the chance goes afoul. He goes way over the top, acting almost like some bad imitation of Marlon Brando. As a result, it's a tough movie for me to like, even when the words are fine. The lead performance constantly gets in the way of my enjoying this picture, and that's my reaction to Barfly.
I think this is the biggest mistake you've made since you didn't like Apocalypse Now. I think this is one of the great recent American movies. Completely original from beginning to end. A real slice of life of these people in the bar. Mickey Rourke's performance does take a chance. You're right about that. It takes a chance and it works because he is consistent and strong enough to do it all the way through. Faye Dunaway, you talk about how surprisingly small her performance is. This is Academy Award material here. Maybe she's not on the screen every moment. The movie's called Barfly, not Barflies, but I think you're going to find that Mickey Rourke and Faye Dunaway have given two of the finest performances of the year here, and to allow some notion that Mickey Rourke is imitating Marlon Brando to get in the way is a mystery to me. It indicates that you either weren't paying attention to the movie or you don't know what Marlon Brando sounds like.
No, what I'm saying, well, first of all, I do know what Marlon Brando sounds like. I've seen a lot of it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, well then that's a gratuitous joke then you're making. What I'm saying is that Mickey Rourke takes a chance and fails. I mean, people can either succeed or fail when they take a chance, and he just sort of slobbers around, wanders around with that voice, and I don't like that voice, and it distracted me throughout the entire film. All that I'm saying with Dunaway is, one, she does a very good job. The role disappointed me because I wanted to see more of her. I wish it were called Barflies. I wish it were more about the two of them. I find the spoiled rich girl who comes at the end to be the editor, to be unnecessary. I wish there'd been more about the two of them. Then I would have liked more of the movie.
What about the humor in this movie? What about the humor in it? What about the wonderful dialogue and the nice little plays on words and the way
What about the excessive fighting? What about the excessive fighting?
Excessive fighting. This is the world that they're talking about here. He hates the bartender hates him. They go out in the back and they have two fights, one at the beginning of the movie, one at the end. That's not excessive compared to most of the movies you've seen recently. I don't think so.
I would say that the amount of fighting here and the amount of violence is
Oh,
excessive.
come on. You're going to go see Barfly and say you don't like the fighting and the violence? What about the movie? What about the dialogue? What about the characters? What about the world? You're sounding like a school teacher or something. I didn't like the violence.
No. I didn't like the amount of it, and I didn't like his performance. His performance got in the way the whole time.
All I got to say is, one of the years, Tim Best. When we come back, Nick Nolte plays a prison playwright who writes himself a new ticket in Weeds.
What's going on here? You're going to the wrong place! Everyone here! What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on!
Our next movie is named Weeds, and it stars Nick Nolte as a San Quentin prisoner with a lifetime sentence and no possibility of parole. He's in for armed robbery, repeat offender, aggravated circumstances. They're never going to let him out again. They're going to throw out the key, so he tries to kill himself. But when that doesn't work, he starts reading his way through the prison library, and eventually he writes a play that's performed by his fellow prisoners and gets so much attention on the outside that eventually his lifetime sentence is commuted by the governor. And in this scene, they've taken their play to off-Broadway, where their ticket sales are not so good.
We lost bookings. I feel bad about this, but there's not enough money to pay this week's salaries. If any of you want to leave, I wouldn't blame you.
And go back to what? For me, this is all I got left to look forward to.
Nah, you kidding? Quit? I love this. I do it for nothing.
Here's the movie's biggest scene. After their New York opening, they perform the play in front of prisoners in upstate New York.
How come only the poor people go to jail? Where are the big criminals? The guys that poison the atmosphere, bomb cities, fix prices. Where are the rich people here? They're not here, they're out there. Because justice may wear a blindfold, but when it comes to money, you better believe she pigs.
And, of course, that speech goes on to inspire a prison riot, although the rhetoric is about 20 years out of date. Apparently, these guys have been inside so long it sounds great to them. The thing that you don't see in this, in the clips that we've shown, are the camaraderie between these prisoners, who, as they get out and go on the road and try to get this play to Broadway, have a really tightly knit group of people who we get to know as individuals, and that was good about the movie. The whole plot of Weeds is a prison version of one of those old Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland movies, where a group of amateurs put on a play and try to take it to Broadway. So the plot's predictable, but the movie isn't, because there are so many small, offhand, offbeat touches in this film. It's one of those movies where a particular moment will be so great you're still laughing about it during the next scene. The movie has a lot of fun with some of its oddball characters, including Anne Ramsey, who plays Nolte's sort of ramshackle mother. When the guys go to Sardi's to wait for the reviews to come out after their Broadway opening, she steals the show.
Well, once again, we disagree, and we disagree again because I can't handle the central character. I will admit to you that some of the, first of all, the premise is not one that really excites me, even though this is based on a true story, but I think the true story is probably far more interesting than this film. But the Nick Nolte character, to me, is just too patently heroic. It's too much of a turnaround. You know what's going to happen when the movie starts. You know that the man who cannot be paroled will be paroled, He is going to transform himself and all those around him and be the great savior. And I found him to be, as with most saviors in most movies, to be crushingly boring. And even though he's given all these great speeches, I think it's not Nick Nolte's fault as much as that he's given a role that's just too big for anyone but some godlike figure to play.
Well, I don't know. I think they made some attempt to make him more human. For example, the fact that he plagiarized most of his hit play that got him out of jail, so he should be back in again for plagiarism.
That's a line. That's just a line that he says.
No, it's a whole element of the movie. It's important to the plot. But what I liked about the film, and to repeat again, is all of these little
supporting
characters and the particular moments. There are moments of huge laughs in this movie, 4 or 5 great big laughs. That's good enough for me. I agree with you that the story is utterly predictable, and that's not where I'm making my stand, okay?
Okay. Utterly predictable story that he recommends you see. Coming up next, Hope and Glory, a child's view of World War II, which for him, incredibly enough, some of the time was just a lark.
Lovely! Lovely! Come and see the fireworks, Billy! Come on, look at that!
Our next film is called Hope and Glory, and those are the emotions that writer-director John Boorman seeks to find and evoke in this childhood memory of England under attack in World War II. It's a very strange approach that takes a bit of adjusting to, a child's eye view of the war in suburban London. Here the young boy, his mother, and his older and younger sisters take shelter from the bombing.
I didn't know you were Australian. 3, 4, 5, 6. The next one's ours. Either it hits us or it goes past. Oh, please, God, not on us. Drop it on Mrs. Evans. She's a cow. Sick.
That's a good scene and typical of the movie, because the film does swing from that kind of fearfulness to nervous humor to silliness, as in this air raid gas mask scene.
You breathe slowly. In, out. Don't panic. In, out. Now, we'll do our 9 times table. 1 9 is 9. 2 9s are 18.
Eventually, the boy does escape the bombing when he goes to his grandparents' house in the English countryside, which is full of adventure. Here he tries to save his grandfather's punting pole from being left behind.
Now there's a lesson for life. Never give up the punt for the pole.
And that, you may say, after you look at those scenes, that's World War II? Well, that was World War II for this family back home. They weren't on the front lines. And it and a lot of other strange, moving, and darkly funny incidents make up this movie. I don't think Hope and Glory is a particularly great film. I don't know if it's an important one. But it does show us a flip side of the war that isn't on the front line, and the ironies of that life that do go on, that life does go on in times of terrible danger, and the strange mixture of moods is what distinguishes Hope and Glory for me. It's a close call, but thumbs up, and I will say one thing. There are movies that have a lot of great final scenes in them. The 400 Blows has a classic final moment. This film has a classic final scene.
Yes, it does, and I think it's a good film, too, and I also vote thumbs up. And one of the things I found interesting about it is, for the British, who lived through World War II as a target, with those bombs coming in every night, and that's a great scene where they're saying the next one either hits us or it doesn't. For the British who lived through that, there has been this whole tradition of pluck on the home front. Movies like Mrs. Miniver and Patriotism and Here's to You Lads as the bombers go over to fight the Battle of Britain. This movie has kind of a subversiveness about it, because to a little boy, sure, he hates the Nazis, but on the other hand, he loves collecting these pieces of shrapnel, and he thinks it's terrific when he can watch the fire engines go by. And so it shows, you're quite right, it's strange that we see it from the point of view of a small boy to whom all of this is kind of exciting, and I thought that was really original.
Well, that is original, as I say. I think people are going to wonder, I think it's more meaningful probably to English audiences. Apparently, they're embracing this film in London, where they're saying, yes, this sort of thing happened to me. But I'm just saying, be aware, this is not this is not Platoon. This is a different kind of war movie.
Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed this week. We disagreed on Suspect, a courtroom drama with Cher and Dennis Quaid. We both liked the performances, but I thought the ending didn't play fair. 1 thumb up, 1 thumb down. Complete unanimity, however, on The Killing Time. We both thought it was a waste of time. 2 thumbs down. And a major disagreement on Barfly. We both liked Faye Dunaway's performance, but Gene had a problem with Mickey Rourke's work in the film. I sure didn't. I think it's one of the year's best. Another disagreement on Weeds, the prison drama. Gene thought the Nick Nolte character was unbelievable. I liked the movie's moments of humor and color. 1 thumb up, 1 down. And finally, 2 thumbs up for Hope and Glory, the bittersweet story of how one British family lived through World War II. So, the only one we agree on is Hope and Glory.
Right, and then I like Suspect, and you like Barfly.
I sure do like Barfly. I think it's just a terrific movie, right?
That's it for this week. Next time we'll be back with reviews of The Prince of Darkness by Halloween director John Carpenter and The Sicilian, based on the novel by Godfather writer Mario Puzo. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Nestle Crunch. It's creamy milk chocolate and crispy crunchies. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why you'll love Nestle Crunch. Wrinkle-free brand fabric relaxant removes wrinkles from clothing without ironing. Wrinkle-free, the little iron in a can. Zip Guard wood stain will not chip, crack, craze, or peel. And Zip Strip, non-flammable paint remover. Redken Classics, hair care products formulated to create beautiful, healthy hair. So effective their formulas transcend time. Available exclusively at salons.